Millionaire invited the black maid as a joke, but what she did next shocked Averian. Everyone said the wedding would perfect chandeliers glowed like falling stars, white orchids. Framed every corner guests in tuxedos and silk gowns clinked champagne. Glasses as the played softly in the background, and at the center of it all was Daniel Whitmore, a 29-year-old millionaire with slick back hair, a sparkling smile, and a reputation as the man who had everything, wealth, power, and a trophy bride. But hidden behind felodder and glitter was something cruel. It started 2 nights before the wedding during the bachelor party at his estate. Drunk and arrogant, Daniel turned to his groomsmen and said, "You know what would be hilarious if we invited that little maid to feuding." The groom laughed. "You mean the one that barely talks, the one who mops the marble like it's sacred? Come in, man, that's low." But Daniel grinned dexically. Her name was Amara, a young black woman, barely 22, quiet and sharp. She had worked in his mansion for nearly 2 years. Always respectful, always honest, she lived in the staff quarters behind the guest house, clean as floors, polished, the silver served meals invisible to everyone. Daniel had never said more than 10 words to her in total. The next morning, an invitation was delivered to her door. At first, Amara thought it was a mistake, but it was real, a gold-trimmed card with her name spelled correctly. "Mr. Whitmore him's fast for you to come," Febulaire told her, trying to mask a smirk. "Beat her. Dress nice." She wore the only decent thing. She had a red and white midis dress with lace on the shoulders. Her hair was tied neatly, no jewelry, no makeup, just dignity. As she entered the hall, all heads turned. A few guests exchanged glances. Some chuckled. The bride didn't recognize her, and neither did half the crowd, but Daniel, he saw her and smiled wide. "Amara," he called out dramatically, champagne in hand, "you medite." The music lowered, all eyes turned. She stood awkwardly near the entrance, unsure where to go. She wasn't assigned as yet, wasn't on the guest list, she didn't belong. Still she nodded. "I did well coming in," he said, putting an arm around her. "This is your big day too, right?" Guests slawed uneasily. She gave a soft smile and stayed quiet. The night dragged on. No one spoke to her. Waiters ignored her. Guests whispered behind her back, but Amara stood straight, holding her head high. Until dessert came. Daniel stood beside the wedding cake, a towering masterpiece of ivory frosting and gold leaf. A photographer lined up to capture the couple's cutting moment. Danielle spotted her from across the room. "Amara," he called, "come have the first bite." Confused, she approached slowly. A few people pulled out their phones. Laughter stirred. "Go on," he said, patting her shoulder. "Just lean in." She hesitated. In a blink, he shoved her face into the cake. Gasps exploded. Phones flashed. Simeone screamed. Laughter erupted from Daniel's groomsmen. Her face was buried in frosting, her hair slick with cream sponge cracked beneath. Her cheek hadn't let go. He held her head there, cuckling, saying, "Come on, it's just a joke." When he released her, Amara slowly stood upright. The cake dripped from her chin. Her dress was ruined. The room felt silent. Even the bride looked unsorry. Amara stared at him, calm, steady, and then with utter composure she wiped the cake from her face with the edge of tablecloth. She looked Daniel dead in the eyes and said softly, "You'll regret this before the sun sets." Then she turned and walked away. No screaming, no tears, just silence. The whispers started immediately. "Did you see that? Was that really necessary? Worked here, didn't she?" Daniel brushed it off. "Relax," he said. "It's just a prank. She'll get over it." He didn't know how Amara truly was. He didn't know that the very mansion he bragged about was never truly his. He didn't know the truth was already in motion, because Amara had received more than just an invitation this week. She had also received a sealed letter from a lawyer scheduled to be open tomorrow morning at the very same state, and when that seal was broken, Daniel Whitmore would discover just how expensive a joke could be by sunrise. The videos had already gone viral. Millionaire groom shoves maid's face in wedding cake. Humiliating scene at Whitmore wedding. Woe is the mystery woman. Daniel Whitmore woke up with no regrets. In fact, hella'd over breakfast, recounting the incident to his wife like it was a highlight of the night. She should have been flattered. He said with a smirk she was just a maid. But across the estate, in a quiet legal office tucked into the west wing of Fepperpurdy, a much different story was unfolding at exactly 10 a.m. A man in a gray suit opened a locked briefcase. Inside was a sealed envelope with a wax stamp, the final testament of Mr. Harold Whitmore, Daniel's late grandfather. Farum held only 5 people. Daniel smirking and leaning back in his chair. Lawyer composed and firm 2 witnesses from the law firm, and Amara wore a navy blue dress. Her face was clean. Hair freshly styled, no trace off cake, no sign of the girl from last night's humiliation deal. Scaffetti didn't realize we were still letting staff into private business meetings. The lawyer didn't blink. She's not staff, Mr. Whitmore. He broke the seal and began to read aloud to my grandson. Daniel, you have been given much, and in return, I've watched you treat others with less than dignity. I've seen arrogance in your eyes, where fear should have been character. That is why you will receive only the trust fund already dispersed, no property, no further assets. Dan sat up with the lawyer. Continued to the one person who cared for me in my final years, not because she had to, but because she saw me as a man, not just Anna. Amara, I leave the Whitmore Estatil properties, all shares in Whitmore Holdings, and the inheritance rights to the Whitmore Foundation. Room went dead silent. Daniel's mouth fell open. That's impossible. Amara remained quiet, calm. The lawyer handed her a document signed and notarized. Your identification was held back for your protection per Harold Whitmore's request. You are the legal heir. Daniel shot to his feet. She's a maid. She's nobody. She's also the daughter of James Morongath. Lawyer replied coldly, the man who saved your grandfather's life during a fire 20 years ago. He made arrangements for her care after her father died and gave her a future you were never supposed to inherit. Amara said softly, finally meeting his eyes, you just played the part. The news expeditedly flipped overnight. Former Maid, no owner of Whitmore Empire, humiliates wedding. She now owns the mansion. Guests from the wedding sent apologies. The bride filed for annulment within a week. The board of directors removed Daniel from all business decisions, and Daniel, he packed his things in silence. He owned suitcase, no servants. As he passed through the front door, now her door, he saw Amara standing in the hallway. She didn't smile, she didn't gloat. She simply said, I forgave you this moment you pushed my face into that cake, but Thewel doesn't forget as quickly. And nodded. That was the last time they spoke. Months later, the estate held a charity gala, now run by Amara. She wore a stunning white gown, her natural confidence radiating through the room. Her speech that evening ended with these words, Dig isn't about money or title, it's about how we treat people when we think no one is watching. The crowd gave a standing ovation, and the same hands that once clapped at her humiliation now clapped for her power, not as a maid, not as a guest, but as the woman who owned the house. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpectedals. And let us know in the comments where in the world are you watching from. We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.